Sabian, one of a group mentioned in the Quran as entitled to Muslim religious tolerance along with Jews and Christians, and usually identified with the Mandeans or the Alkasates, a Syrian pagan of a Horanitic group originally of star worshippers claiming toleration from the Muslim conquerors under the pretense of belonging to the Sabian group tolerated by the Quran and including scholars and astronomers noted under the Caliphate. Sabian, of or relating to the Sabians. Who are the Sabians? The Sabians are mentioned in several verses of the Quran. Who are they? Who were they? What was the religion they followed? The Sabians are a large nation among whom are both blessed and doomed. They are one of the nations who are divided into believers and disbelievers. Reference to Sabians in the Quran. Meaning of the Sabians. Belief of the Sabians. Praise be to Allah. Reference to Sabians in the Quran. The Sabians are mentioned in 3 places in the Quran. The first is the verse in which Allah says, interpretation of the meaning, verily, those who believe, and those who are Jews and Christians, and Sabians, whoever believes in Allah and the last day, and does righteous good deeds, shall have their reward with their Lord. On them shall be no fear, nor shall they grieve. The second is the verse in which Allah says, interpretation of the meaning, verily, those who believe in Allah and in His Messenger Muhammad, and those who are Jews and the Sabians, and the Christians, and the Majus, and those who worship others besides Allah, truly Allah will judge between them on the day of resurrection. Verily, Allah is over all things a witness. And the third is the verse in which Allah says, interpretation of the meaning, surely those who believe in the oneness of Allah, in His Messenger Muhammad, and all that was revealed to him from Allah, and those who are the Jews and the Sabians and the Christians, whosoever believed in Allah and the last day, and worked righteousness, on them shall be no fear, nor shall they grieve. Meaning of the Sabians. The word Sabian, is derived from the verb sabaa, which refers to the action of leaving one religion and entering another. Al-Tabari said, Al-Sabiun is the plural of Sabi, which means one who has changed his religion, such as an apostate from Islam who has left his religion, or anyone who leaves the religion that he used to follow and joined another. The Arabs called such a person Sabi, and it is said in Arabic, Sabi at al-Nujum, meaning the stars appeared. Beliefs of the Sabians. With regard to the beliefs of the Sabians, Ibn al-Qayyim, may Allah have mercy on him, said, the people differed greatly concerning the Sabians, and the Imams were unsure about them because they did not have enough knowledge of their beliefs and religion. Al-Shafi, may Allah have mercy on him, said, they are a kind of Christian, and he said elsewhere, their case is to be examined further. If they resemble the Christians in basic matters, but they differ from them in some minor issues, then the jizya is to be taken from them. But if they differ from them in basic issues of religion, and their religion cannot be approved of by taking the jizya from them, with regard to the views of the Salaf concerning them, Sufyan narrated from Layth that Mujahid said, they are a people who come between the Jews and the Magians and have no religion. In Tafsir Shaban, it is narrated that Qatada said, the Sabians are a people who worship the angels. Ibn al-Qayyim said, I said, the Sabians are a large nation among whom are both blessed and doomed. They are one of the nations who are divided into believers and disbelievers. For the nations before the coming of the Prophet, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, were 2 types, Kafir nations, all of whose people were doomed, and among whom were none who were blessed, such as the idol worshippers and the Magians, and others who were divided into those who were blessed and those who were doomed, namely the Jews, Christians, and Sabians. Allah has mentioned the two types in his book where he says interpretation of the meaning. Repeated verse Al-Baqarah 262 and repeated verse. He did not say here those among them who believed in Allah and the last day, because he mentioned alongside them the Magians and those who worshipped others besides Allah. So he mentioned 6 nations, among whom are 2 who are doomed and 4 who are divided into the doomed and the blessed. When he promised the reward to those who believed and did righteous deeds, he mentioned 4 nations and no more. In the verse which speaks of the judgment between the nations, he included these 2 nations with them, and in the verse which speaks of the promised reward, he did not include them. Thus it is known that the Sabians included both believers and disbelievers, both doomed and blessed. This is an ancient nation which existed before the Jews and Christians, and they were of different types. Sabians, who were Hanifs, monotheists, and Sabians, who were Mushrikun, polytheists. Their kingdom was in Haran, before the time of the Messiah. They wrote books and had knowledge. There were many of them in Baghdad, including Ibrahim ibn Hilal al-Sabi, the author of Al-Rasail. He followed their religion, but he fasted Ramadan with the Muslims. Most of them were philosophers and wrote famous essays, which were mentioned by the scholars who wrote about philosophy and religion. In brief, they did not reject the prophets or regard it as obligatory to follow them. In their views, whoever followed the prophets is blessed and saved, and whoever follows a path similar to that of the prophets by virtue of his own reasoning is also blessed and saved, even if he did not follow the prophets in specific terms. In their view, the call of the prophets was true, but there was no one specific route to salvation. They believed that the universe had a creator and a sustainer who is wise and above any resemblance to created beings, but many of them, or most of them, said, "We are unable to reach him without intermediaries, so we have to approach him through the mediation of spiritual and holy, who are pure and free of any physical elements, and who are above place and time, rather they are created pure and holy." Then he mentioned that they used to worship these intermediaries and seek to draw close to them, and they said, "These are our gods and intercessors with the Lord of lords and God of gods." Then he said, "This is some of what was narrated by the scholar who studied religion and philosophy about the religion of the Sabians, and is based on what had come down to them. But among this nation are some who believe in Allah and his names and attributes, his angels and messengers and the last day, and among them are disbelievers. There are some who took from the religion of the messengers whatever suited their own reasoning and ideas of what is good, so they followed it and were content with it. Basically, they took what they thought was good from other religions, and they did not take the people of one religion as friends and others as enemies. They did not favor one religion over another. In their view, all religions served some purpose in this world, so there was no sense in their fighting one another. Rather, the good things in each were to be adopted so as to perfect the human condition. Hence, they were called Sabian, because they refrained from following any one particular religion. Hence, more than one of the Salaf said, "They are not Jews or Christians or Magians." There are 2 types of Sabians. The monotheistic Sabians, Sabia Hanafa, and polytheistic Sabians, Sabia Mushrikun. The monotheists are the ones who are saved, and there were debates among them, and one group refuted the view of the other. These are the people of Ibrahim, as the Jews were the people of Musa, and the monotheists among them were his followers. What he mentioned about the Sabians being divided into monotheists and polytheists was confirmed by Sheikh al-Islam in more than one place. And Allah knows best.